Okay, great. So it's so nice to meet you. So Sonia and I just connected over LinkedIn, and it feels like the work that we're doing is kind of quite related in some way. So I wonder if you can just kind of tell us briefly what it is that you do.
I do a lot of things. Fundamentally, I do a lot of employee wellness work, but that translates into community wellness. So there's
Mhm.
a lot of different kinds of events that I do, whether it's for moms or for parents of teens or kids or whatever it is. But the underlying foundation of it all is we all got to kind of get back into here and
Yeah.
listening here and taking care here. There's a
Great.
million answers out there for everything, but as a
Yeah.
health practitioner, we're all figuring out, it's like there are other pieces that need to happen here. A supplement, a certain food, it just isn't the answer anymore.
Okay, so you feel like it's more fundamental than that.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Cool.
whether it's, talking about moms that have just had a baby and the self-care guilt that they feel,
Yeah,
or
totally.
or like anyone, a really busy dad that just needs certain things and just can't seem to get them. We're all missing something here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's a cultural legacy that we're all suffering from of somehow there's this guilt of like taking care of ourselves. And I think it stems apparently from like Lutheran Christianity that people wanted to kind of prove that they were like worthy of getting into heaven, and so you had to kind of suffer and sacrifice,
Yeah.
but show that you were materially prosperous, so that you'd kind of
Yeah.
get rewards afterwards. But somehow it lingers in our collective psyche, it
Yep.
seems. And
Yeah, it really does, because there's a disconnect when the one God religions came in, which we're
yeah,
diving right into it now, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
when they came in, they disconnected us from the fact that we are born good. Our journey
Hmm.
is just to remember what we actually are. But if you
Okay.
can convince people that they have to do something to fix themselves,
Yeah.
not just uncover the layers to the goodness and the love that's actually there, then
Mhm.
you can control a lot of people,
Okay. Yeah. It's
right?
interesting. Do you know John Vervaeke? Have you come across his work?
That does not sound familiar.
I've just watched 48 lectures by him, and it's this series called Awakening from the Meaning Crisis.
Oh,
And his theory is that that there's this kind of general kind of crisis of meaning going on, that people just feel somewhat lost, in the kind of current capitalist system. But the last lecture I was listening to, I had a real kind of aha moment, and he was talking about the kind of the notion of the divine double, and I guess for me it kind of maps onto the higher self. So it's almost that I guess there is this kind of fundamental goodness, but we're also heading somewhere, like in terms of, like kind of Maslow's theory of self-actualization, that there's this kind of urge to grow and actually, kind of connect with this like somewhat better version of
yeah.
ourselves.
And I think what's really great about all of the current research and the current psychology and all the stuff that's going on is they're starting to explain the stuff that kind of seemed a little bit out there, for the last
Yeah.
few decades, because you can measure the thoughts and you can measure how you feel about yourself and the cortisol that it produces and the sickness that it makes.
Hmm.
And it's all making it a little bit simpler, because we advanced so quickly from the industrial revolution. No, what's the word? Revolution.
Yeah.
Um, so the what happened in industry, and then what happened in technology, and now
Yeah.
everything's accessible, and we've advanced on so many levels, but
Yeah.
psychologically we haven't evolved with it.
Yeah,
there's a
completely.
there's a catch
Yeah.
up that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And what's great about all the mind body research that's coming out now is it's proving all of these things that the 7,000-year-old stuff has
Yeah.
always said. It takes the superstition and
Yeah.
some of the weirdness off of it. And it's like, we can measure these things. And some of
Hmm.
this is natural cause and effect.
Yeah.
And whether it's Ayurveda or Chinese medicine or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So that's what I really like. I guess if I was going to maybe re-answer the question from before,
Yeah.
I've studied all of those things. I've been all around the world. I've had
Hmm.
teachers, I've explored the weird stuff and the practical stuff. And
Yeah.
just kind of see how it's all starting to fit together with some basic understanding of the things that we intuitively know
Yeah.
aren't out there.
Yeah.
Like they're right here, right?
Yeah. And I guess there's sort of, like, I really love science. Like, I love kind of, quantum biology, and people like
Mm-hmm.
Rupert Sheldrake I find really exciting. But also, um, that there's this kind of felt knowing that I experience as well. And it seems like those things are not incompatible. Like, we can
Yeah.
sort of, we can use our reason and our intellect, but we can also use this kind of deeper sort of intuitive knowing, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
And I have this way of when someone's like, well, I don't know about that stuff, or I'm, really evidence-based or whatever it is. Do you want to hear what my music professor 20 years ago taught me about that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I use it in my workshops to help people understand their intuition and the gut feelings and the personal boundaries and stuff like that. So and it was a Christian college actually that I went to. She had her PhD in FM synthesis. So she was talking frequencies and all that stuff. And
Cool.
the short version of it is we know that all the atoms that make up everything vibrate. Like there's movement, right?
Yeah.
And so all of those vibrations, they are frequencies. They emit frequencies. So like if you have a whole orchestra and they're all tuning to each other, they all have these frequencies, and they go like this. And eventually when they tune in, instead of going like this, it kind of feels like this, right?
Yeah.
So if your body and all of the mitochondrial energy production and the heartbeat and the blood flowing through your body and the neurons firing in your nervous system, they all have frequencies.
Yeah.
So you are also an orchestra and you have your own signature frequency that all that combines.
Yeah. And we
right?
sort of, and on some level, we know it when we're out of tune, when we're out of balance.
Yeah, you can feel those things. We've discounted the things that we feel because we separated those things, right?
Yeah.
Like the feeling from the body because the body became sinful.
Yeah.
So there had to be a separation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you are your own frequency and you're really no different than a guitar.
Yeah.
Because if you have two guitars on either side of the room and you pluck one string on one, that frequency goes across and makes the same string on the other guitar vibrate.
Yeah.
So why does that not work with people? Why can you not sense when someone's off or when someone has a similar frequency or you just like someone right away?
Yeah.
Or if they're close to you, but it's not quite enough, then your frequencies fight each other.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So it's like, it takes the weirdness out of it.
Yeah, did you hear? I did an interview with a hypnotherapist a couple of weeks ago.
I haven't listened to it yet. It's on my list.
Okay, yeah, because we were talking about that subject, that actually, we know lots more than we admit to most of the time. Like we're kind of sensing all the time, what's going on for other people and when we're connecting and when we're not. But yeah, I guess it's exciting now to kind of to give language to that and just allow it to be a real thing.
Yeah, and I love it because it gives other people that maybe didn't grow up having their intuition, those kinds of things supported. It gives them a logical gateway into, the things and things that I feel are valid. It's not just my imagination and those kinds of things.
Yeah, completely.
Those kinds of things and reading them and understanding them can actually keep you safe, even on an emotional level. Never mind that, dark alley, there's something weird down there feeling.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Great. And so, how do you apply this kind of knowledge to families? Like in terms of, if you were going to give some advice to a new mother in terms of how to stay well and kind of, just to improve things for herself, what would you say?
Well, if I was going to take this context, I mean, there's so many different contexts, right?
Yeah.
We've done collaborative events with Western and natural medicine, all in the same room with moms, the practical stuff. We had a doctor talking about the physiology and hormones of pregnancy, and she was kind of funny. It was actually really great. And then an osteopath, because they kind of straddle the line of the physical and the intuitive with the work that they do. And then a naturopath talking about the microbiome and acupuncture. Very an energy based, but all those meridians are very measurable already. So when it comes to moms, in this context, I think where I drive home a lot of a lot of thought and feeling for moms, because I have a 3-year-old, and I went through a bit of a thing when she
Yeah.
was born,
Mm.
is getting back in touch with the that mama bear intuition that we have,
Okay. Yeah. Mm.
and letting it be valid,
Yeah.
and letting that feeling translate into self-care. Because and I had a situation where I got out of a not good situation with a 3-month-old, and
Mm.
my family and friends all got it. They knew if I was okay, baby was
Yeah.
going to be just fine.
Okay. Yeah.
And we
Great.
don't think about it that way.
Mm.
A lot of stuff out there for babies. There's not a lot out there to support moms because the village is gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
when I talk here, and what we're trying to form here with some of the events that we're doing, is to kind of bring the village back. But
Mm.
and the joke is always with some of my friends, it's like, let's just start a commune and then we don't have to deal with all this stuff. But we
Yeah.
all know that's not going to happen. But
Yeah.
what we can do is let what the village was, let that evolve
Mm. Okay.
the way our psychology and our consciousness is evolving, and
Yeah.
create a new one that's going to look different.
Yeah. Mm.
I don't remember who it was that posted it. I saw a meme just a little while ago where it was like, I heard it takes a village to raise a child. And it's like, where do I go for that? Like, do I sign
Yeah.
up? Can I register? Because it's
Yeah.
fun.
It is, and I guess we've got to find ways of kind of faking it a little bit. Because I was thinking yesterday, so I kind of had quite an unusual situation, which is that I was with a partner for 10 years, and then we broke up towards the end of my pregnancy.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I moved in with another woman who she had a baby 6 weeks before I did.
Uh-huh.
And so I guess that was part of like faking it, like trying to sort of create
Yeah.
that sort of support network,
Yeah.
however, in a way that was available for
Yeah.
me. And it was actually great, like we could sort of talk together about the fact that we were both hallucinating with exhaustion or, whatever was going
Yeah.
on at the beginning.
Yeah.
But
And honestly, that is starting to happen. We're trying to patch it together. I don't think
totally,
we're
yeah.
doing the most amazing job yet, but that knowing that that's how it's supposed to be is still there.
Yeah.
And I always tell moms, like, in this Western world that we live in, it's like they feel bad because they can't do it alone. It's like, why can't I just take care of one baby? And I will say to them, there's nothing in your DNA that
Yeah.
tells you how to do this.
Mhm.
We don't have it. We haven't known that. It's like been the last, I don't know, a couple 100 years where, or well, it's actually been a little bit longer than that, but there's still been more of the cohesive large families, which really help.
Mhm.
We don't have
Yeah.
that anymore either. And
Yeah.
people lived in the same spots. And the
Mhm.
last 100 years, we don't do that anymore either.
Yeah.
I spent 3 years living in London. My family was still here. I didn't have a baby while I was there, but if I had, that would have been very different.
Yeah. And I think there's something about kind of and the need for interdependence and for, who we are as kind of as artists or, intellectuals and somehow for all of that to be integrated into, our lives as mothers, not just to
Yeah.
kind of separate out, my identity as a mum. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you are
Kind of,
still that
sorry.
other person. You are still that other person. It
Yeah,
takes about a year for you
totally.
to even like realize that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Because I come from a circus background, and that's something that's kind of inspired my
Mhm.
journey. Because in the circus world, it's really normal to just bring your kids along with you to, to rehearsals and to shows, and to
Right.
kind of integrate life and work. And I think there's something there that's quite healthy
Yeah.
or quite interesting.
Something very villagey about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Mm.
really cool actually. I can see how that would be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
Um,
there's sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, so what kind of inspired you to get into your work around well-being? Like, what was your own journey?
I think most of us who end up trying to help people had to help ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I took my holistic nutrition diploma because, well, I've been interested since I was a kid, but I was
Mhm.
always sick as a kid because I was like the pioneer of modern day food intolerances in the 80s.
Oh,
And
okay.
no one knew that wheat and dairy is not something that I should be eating. So I felt sick all the time.
Oh no.
And I had
Okay.
blood sugar issues because of the intolerances, not because I actually had blood sugar issues.
Okay.
So I
That's
had to figure
interesting.
that I had to figure that out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And from there, my music career before that, because I was a recording artist and toured and did all those things too,
Oh,
was
okay.
a songwriter. So I had to really tune into people to be a
Hmm.
good songwriter.
Okay, that's interesting.
So that brought me into the emotional lives of people. And then I learned about the physiological lives of people. And then I
Mm.
just got super lucky with all the mentors and teachers I've had around the world.
Okay, great.
And now it's all integrated together, but it
Yeah.
was essentially to heal myself.
Okay.
You can't
Yeah.
really help anyone. And it's not that you do it, but you can't guide anyone on their own journey of healing further than you have gone, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. And I think like because I've transformed a huge amount through, therapy and various different practices.
Yeah.
And I just feel so motivated to share that because, I've completely transformed. Like I've gone from this
Mhm.
kind of self-loathing, depressed person to like now a really kind of joyful person who experiences a lot of meaning. And it's kind of like, yeah, of course you just want to share that as
Oh
much.
yeah, you want everyone to know that they can feel better, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's interesting when you talk about being a performer as well, because I'm still doing a little bit of performance, and I
Yeah.
think the thing that's left that's interesting for me, because I think I went into it for quite dysfunctional reasons, just because I wanted to be loved and noticed,
Yeah.
and now at this point, I'm just interested in being creative
Mm.
and in connecting with people, and I think that's kind of you know the bit
Yeah.
that's left that feels exciting, actually.
Yeah. I'm actually on the verge of getting back into some music stuff myself too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And for me, because I need to still sing and I feel like I need to still write. But it's been a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, we're usually all a little bit creative. We're gonna try to help people, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think everything we do is creative in a way, and like actually parenting's incredibly creative.
Yes, it is. It's
Mm.
exhaustingly creative, like in the best way.
Yeah, yeah. Because I've just written a book, and the book is a process to help people prepare to become parents. And I've included a little bit of kind of theatrical improv in there because actually I think it's a really useful skill for when you're
Mhm.
interacting with children because
Yeah.
you're just really present with them in the moment and they don't have any judgments of you. They just want to kind of go on this crazy, outrageous, imaginative
Yeah.
journey with you. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I like that. My I saw a child specialist here just for some tools to help my daughter cope with transitions between
Okay.
two parents. And one of the things she said, which will be for similar reasons of why the improv is really good,
Yeah.
she said if there are stressful things happening and
Mhm.
and she's coming back really unsettled and all those kinds of things, she said one of the best things to do is to engage her in dangerous play.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
we're
Okay.
because we like to pretend to be frightened, right?
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why it's so good, and now this is bringing the hard physiological like biology into it,
Yeah.
because it activates their
Yeah.
sympathetic nervous system in the stress response, like their heart beats
Okay.
fast, they're kind of getting scared, but it's happening in a context that's actually safe.
Ah,
Then they
okay.
can immediately come down from the stress response and their parasympathetic nervous system activates,
Yeah.
takes all the stress hormones down, calms everything down. And so what you're actually doing is you are strengthening their ability to self-soothe and self-regulate,
Okay, that's fascinating.
so that
Yeah.
then something really scary does happen and then it
Mm.
passes. They actually have the neural pathways, the nervous system has developed enough that they can shut that down so that they don't move and create a lot of anxiety neural pathways if life can be stressful. I found that
Okay.
fascinating and I'm like, that makes the most sense.
Yeah, that is really
So the
fascinating.
improv would do that too because they get excited. That's still a stress response in a way, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they come down because it's not real.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Do you know Peter Gray's work?
Oh, I don't. I think we need to swap resources because I
Yeah,
really
definitely.
like
Yeah, he wrote a book called Free to Learn, and it's he did lots of kind of anthropological studies
Yeah.
about play in kind of hunter-gatherer communities, and yeah, just the important role that, like you say, that risky play plays in uh, assessing risks. And yeah, I didn't know that information that you just shared, so that's
Yeah, no, it's cool. I love all of the physiology of all of the things and the feeling
Mhm.
that translate into chemicals. because people can relate to that. They're like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
This feeling has a physiological impact in my body, and it could actually make me sick because it produces chemicals.
Yeah.
Or it could also make me better too, right? And it goes both ways.
Yeah, great. Well, it's really fab to talk to you, and I'm kind of excited to be in this world because I'm really aware of what you said, that there have been so many advances in the way, or changes in the way, that we live as humans, but somehow we haven't kind of caught up with that on a psychological level. And so to be creating projects like this is great, because it's we're starting to kind of find our way, and just find our way to live well, I think.
Yeah, because there's so much out there. The philosophy that I have at the whole avocado, with all the collaborative stuff that we do, is everything works for someone and nothing works for everyone.
Okay.
And then that just opens it up to, there's a gateway or a process or something that can be understood, whether it's super logical or it's not, or it's intuitive, that's going to work for everyone, to have that moment where they're like, okay, I get this. There are things I can do to make myself feel better. And the fact that I don't feel good is not my fault.
Yeah.
Because of the world we've come into. And that matters, because that lifts apathy and makes people motivated if they don't feel like it's their fault.
Definitely. And I guess also looking at things like anxiety and depression as, they're kind of signposts to something not being right, and an invitation to kind of look deeper at what might be going on.
Yeah, because medicating the fact that you have a jerk in your life, or you have a stressful job, that's really not the way that you're going to solve anything, right? It just means you can't feel the heat. It doesn't mean that you don't need something sometimes to not feel the heat, so you can figure out a strategy.
Yeah.
But yeah, with all the anxiety and depression, sometimes the solution is so easy. I find in my office. But yeah. Okay. And sometimes it takes a year of therapy.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. In what situations is it easy?
Well, if it is, and we're probably missing context of a lot of the talks that I do. Okay. If it's a microbiome, nutritional, physiological cause, like you aren't absorbing or don't eat the building blocks for the neurotransmitters that you need to feel good. Yeah. That's an easy answer. Okay. Yeah. If it's stemming from a trauma that's still stuck in your amygdala from when you were 7, that's not an easy fix. Okay. But you can do things to support the microbiome and the physiological body to help you process that a little easier. Yeah. You form different neural pathways, right? Yeah. So sometimes with teenagers, it's something that is happening at home and it's not in my scope, and I just have to send them to a counselor. Yeah. Sometimes they need to spend a little less time on their phone, take a few probiotics and some nervous system support and eat better. And 3 weeks later, I get this amazing email from their mother. It's like, you gave me my kid back. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. But it's not always that simple. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Great. Well, I'm aware that we're probably out of time now, but thank you so much. That's been really fantastic. Yeah. Thanks for having me. This is great. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye. Bye.